my top 10 for Division One women's tennis goes as follows: North Carolina 1, Texas A&M 2, Pepperdine 3, Michigan 4, Georgia 5, Duke 6, Ohio State at 7, NC State 8. They did defeat Texas yesterday. That's kind of why I gave them the nod over Virginia at number 9. And Stanford 10. I'm not rewarding Texas. They only play one match in between polls, and they lost. I can't really reward Iowa State to go ahead because, one, I know they beat Texas, but they lost in a recent meeting, and two, they didn't play a match for whatever reason because their flight got canceled. So they're making up that match right before the Big 12 tournament against West Virginia, but that should have been a win anyway. Teams outside looking in for me are like Texas, Iowa State, Miami, Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, and Oklahoma. Though Oklahoma's like really, really low and all that. And I want to go over like the new computer rankings 1 through 25, then 26 through 40, and then bubble teams. 1 through 25 goes as follows: North Carolina, Texas A&M, Duke, Georgia, Pepperdine, Michigan, Ohio State, NC State, Virginia, Texas, Stanford, Iowa State, Miami, Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, Oklahoma, Florida, Oklahoma State, Washington. They really hurt themselves, both of those teams. They lost recently, and Washington had a bad loss to Utah or something like that. They lost to somebody, and I don't really push them back. Georgia Tech, Wisconsin, Kansas, Arizona State, UCLA, San Diego. Now 26 through 40 would be USC as University of Southern California, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, South Carolina, Cal, Old Dominion, Vanderbilt, Florida State, Illinois, Texas Tech, Syracuse, Clemson, Florida National University, UCF, and Arkansas. And I will say, Texas Tech is very, very fortunate to be this high in the computer rankings because they lost to TCU 4-3 in Lubbock. That's not a good win. I mean, that's not a good loss. That's a bad loss. I mean, right now TCU is like 50. I mean, now the NCAA projections the cutoff line would be a number 44 right now. It would be. The last 4 buys, or technically the teams are not as close to the bubble as the last 4 in, goes as follows: Clemson, Florida National, UCF, and Arkansas. Now the last 4 in would be Boston College, San Diego State, Baylor, Denver. What's funny is Baylor beat Denver, so the last 4 in, last 4 out, the first 4 out would be Charlotte, Loyola Maryland, SMU. Yeah, SMU actually played Baylor last night and Baylor won 4-1. That's a huge deciding match right there for NCAA tournament implications. Then Utah. Now the next 4 out would be Oregon, TCU, Arizona, and LSU. Obviously, for all these teams, you don't need any bid stealers. If you're in based on your rankings alone, as in your one bid league, like for example, like the Sun Belt and Conference USA, you don't need teams that are outside in like to take your spot in the NCAA tournament. Now, obviously, you need to win all the matches you can. I know Baylor has Texas this week, and I know Texas is coming off of a 5-2 loss where they got destroyed. I mean, they lost doubles point, and in 6 first sets. Yes, they got 2 singles matches, but they were both 10-point tiebreakers. I mean, and their 1 through 4 for Texas got beat. I mean, 3 of those straight sets. So I don't know what to think. And of course, you gotta avoid bad losses. I mean, Texas Tech is very, very fortunate to not be as close to the bubble as it could be. And of course, you gotta win. If you win your if you win again in your conference tournament, you're automatically in. So that's the basic advice right there. And I know for sure Baylor, if they beat Texas, they might be higher in the standings, assuming Texas Tech would lose some. I don't know, somebody else, but I don't know. In the Big 12 standings, for example, but even if they lose that match, they're gonna probably play Kansas State in the first match in the Big 12 tournament, where Kansas State only has 5 healthy players the last few matches due to injuries / sickness. I mean, they shouldn't lose to them. I mean, it really doesn't hurt those bubble teams with the Ivy League and Mid American teams and Atlantic Sun and Big West, Patriot League. You get what I'm saying, Southern Conference, because those teams, in terms of rankings, they're really, really out of the tournament based on their ranking alone. They're only going to be in because they won their conference tournament. So, yeah, it's just, for example, I mean, just name some examples right there, because, look, those don't hurt. It's more like you're a Power 5 and there's a bid stealer. Or the American, there's a bid stealer. I mean, because the American does have a shot. Because what if SMU somehow wins the conference tournament, for example? And the only reason, and you can't have a losing record, you can't go below 500. And UCF would be technically in because they're American Conference leader. And I don't know why they're not in red with the losing record below 500 rule with 89. It's because they are leading the American right now. But if they still have a losing record and they don't win the conference tournament, they're definitely not going in. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens here. Like and subscribe. If you haven't already, let's get 5 subscribers. We're on the road to it. Let's go.